inflationary. And that means everything we do trading with each other all over the world should flow to 8 billion people. But we've never had a vehicle to allow it to flow to 8 billion people. And why? Because money is subordinate to laws. And if you could control money, you control everything else. If you could control money and you had 1 million people on your system, then you steal from 1 million people slowly. If you can control money and you have 8 billion people on your system, you're stealing from 8 billion people at different rates around the world. And so Bitcoin doesn't care, right, that I'm here, that Rockstar's here, that you're every 10 minutes, it's imposing. In fact, one of the things that I think about is for people who are so far out of touch, they're living in the matrix that's extracting from them. Instead of saying Bitcoin, just say, what would a decentralized code, secure protocol that you couldn't change, that couldn't be co-opted, that was bounded by energy look like? And if you're in one system, measuring from the system where all of the human abundance, all of the productivity gains are flowing to through 8 billion people eventually moving to the system.
Bitbox. When you go to bitbox.swiss/Walker and use the promo code Walker, not only do you get 5% off, but you also help support this podcast. So seriously, thank you.
Yeah, if I can expand on that, it is really interesting how we cooperate without being forced to fall into certain structure. It's like very organic. And what Jeff is saying about most people not realizing how profound this technology is, I would compare it to that whole shift with Copernicus, where you had models where Earth is the center of the universe, and then it's like not even center of solar system. But we as humans really are truth-seeking machine, and we get born into certain systems and then spend our lifetime trying to get out of those systems towards a better one, like the one that we helped build. And you even now have people.
And I'm just kind of, curious, because you also mentioned, okay, moving your time towards this system, moving your energy toward it. I think it's really difficult for a lot of people who are still stuck in this fiat mentality of, I'm on this hamster wheel and I've just got to keep running a little bit faster, and then I can catch a breather. Then I can start to think. I think it's really hard for them to take a step back, understandably so, and to say, okay, wow, I can make a change. Like I can actually just do this. American HODL, I'll call him HODL because that's his preferred name. But American HODL was saying the other day, he's like, you can just go out and do things. You can just do shit. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to wait. But how do you actually? I mean, is that just a choice everybody needs to make for themselves? Is it something that we as Bitcoiners have any sort of say in helping people along? I think a lot of Bitcoiners, when you get far enough down the rabbit hole, you sort of get tired of trying to orange pill people, quote, and, being rejected time and time.
Achieved my American dream, and I get to be free. And then also what comes after that, because when we again talk about people that are trapped in fiat system, I don't even, lately I've been thinking a lot about it, and I don't even see that's that malicious. It's more that we do not have technology to really, we didn't have technology to really support people, because fiat banking was something that was as Bitcoin invented, and it served to a certain point. But now we have a better technology, and we should move to better technology so that we can service and help more people. Because as population is growing, also complexity increases, and we need to have better technology, better connections, better ways of communicating with each other, serving each other. Like imagine this podcast in old world where we all need to come to a studio and like my people.
right? To countries that go first will be richer than countries that go later. If those countries that go first then tried to consolidate Bitcoin, then then close this, and everybody operated on top of the, call it the shitcoin, the fiat instrument on top of Bitcoin, if they were transacting on that, and then those countries would be incentive to reprice Bitcoin, right? And to keep operating their power because they had so much of the Bitcoin, and there'd be a whole incentive model that would create, okay, let's do this. That would still be inflationary. And because of that, it would still eventually break, and it would not be the free market. So the only way that you could keep that going would be to remove individual rights and freedoms to continue it. I actually think
I know. And can I work with this group of people versus that group of people? And then the other big problem for me was it was easier to immigrate to US than actually receive money in the country I was because of all the financial regulation, how you do remittances, how do you report them to local authorities. Then, you receive $1,000 wired in your bank account. You need to explain what it is for. Are you, foreign spy? What are you? Why are you receiving this money from outside? So that's really where I bring up medium of exchange. It's like sats must flow between us, and we must be able to transmit value to other individuals and free them from whatever are the chains that they're in. Because you look at BTC Pay Server as a project, numerous crowd funds.
no one breathes. It's 90 to 95%. And payments need to work 99%, 99.999%, and then they flip everything. Right? So you have an extractive system that charges between 2 and 4% in the US for every transaction anybody ever does. It just it's a sucking sound out of all of, not just the inflation, but you have another tax through all of the centralized organizations that are mandated to steal from you. And then you have a different system that is approaching now a rate that you can move that moves, instead of paying for transactions, you could get paid for transactions. So the incentives are about to flip. And the incentives, where do the incentives first flip? They first flip in places that are furthest away from the monopoly, like Rockstar was just saying, right? That
got at a really nice interest rate, but they don't have the collective intelligence of anyone out there in the world who wants to work on their thing being able to work on it because it is closed source. And so I'm curious if you guys kind of think like it's very easy, I think, if you look at just the NGU side of things, for people who are maybe just coming into this space, just getting themselves acquainted, to say, oh, maybe I've missed the boat. Like this thing's already worth almost $100,000 per coin. I think we all agree that it's going to go a lot higher from there. But that's just barely even scratching the surface of everything else that's happening behind the scenes. And Jeff, to your point about when you have this whole decentralized, I don't even want to even call it an organization. You've got individuals around the world who are actively working in their own little areas to make things better, to make new products, to create new solutions for people based on actual problems.
Yeah, it's funny because it's true. Once you switch to working in open and contributing to a system like Bitcoin, then suddenly, like with BTC Pay Server first 2 years, there was absolutely no monetary gain. And people looking from outside, they were like, oh, you guys have it so easy. I tried to explain to them, I was like, no, we didn't have it easy. Our first big donor was Jack Dorsey and Square Crypto. Kudos to Mike Brock for suggesting that initiative, and then Miles Suter for being a big champion that we're doing a good work. But it's exactly that. It's like, what is your mission? And if you have a mission, if you have a calling, if you are creating it,
that's more than I make in a year for a Bitcoin. I'm too late. I've missed the boat. There's these other cool, maybe they know about Nostr. Maybe they know about all the other cool things being built like Fedi, like BTC Pay Server. They know about all these things, but they think, you know what? I'm just too late. I'm too trapped in the fiat game to have this actually make a meaningful difference in my life. And like, what do you say to those people? What makes you hopeful? What should give other people hope that no, they're not too late, that we are still early, that there is still so much repricing, as you would say, Jeff, to go?
And it's not just repricing, it's the
you Walker with your streams, that join and develop their own FOSS projects. But it's like you need to find that anchor that will speak to you and properly connect you. And I would encourage people to do that. And if us on this stream or previous stream can share our experiences and point you to the anchor, the better. Like I would actually even go to answer some of the questions that we have received if we have time after this, Walker.
Do you, Jeff? Do you have another couple of minutes? I want to be conscious
if there were some questions, I'm happy to probably let's give it 10 more minutes for me.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So I know. Okay, there were a lot.